There is a boy out in California. His name is, they've only listed his name as J.A. for privacy reasons. He was photographed attending a high school football game between La Jolla High School and Morse High School. This was back on October 13th. Um, the boy's father told the news, we had a fun, great night without any trouble. He, there were, well, there was some trouble. And sadly, it did end up happening to his son. When you're playing youth football, Mikey, did you ever see the movie? Obviously, I'm assuming you've seen the movie The Program, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We just talked about that yesterday.
Yeah, it did come up. I think it did yesterday or the day before. So it's interesting that it came up because um, I have a. When I watched the program, one of the things I loved the most about the program was Lattimore and how he painted his face. I thought that was the coolest thing. How he did, he had different, like he had just like the weird triangle things at the beginning of the movie. Then he painted his face with the skull thing. You remember that guy, the steroid guy, the guy
Yeah,
that
barely.
Dieter
think
has
I've only
based
seen
his Dieter has based his whole
Hunt.
life off of Latimer. Basically, that's what I believe. He used to have long hair like him. He's built like him. Even kind of looks like the guy. I don't believe he abuses women like Latimer did in the movie, so I'm not implying that. But he's just a roided out kind of jock guy. But he painted his face. That was the coolest thing I loved about him. So I always did the same thing. I was one of the face painter kids. I did more, I wouldn't do just the eye black. I did the whole triangle thing. I would do different ones where I do it across my nose. War paint. That's what I was going for, was the war paint look. And this J.A. kid, I don't know if he saw the program or if he was just excited. Because I know like Aiden Hutchinson does it. He'll paint half his face. It's a big thing in the NFL too. So this little kid comes to his game like this. And he paints his face like you would think any football kid would. Now,
Oh my God, I know where the story's going now, and
it
I
is
just don't even want you to finish it.
it's a little bit um, it's a little bit overdone, I would say. You usually don't want it to connect down at the bottom of the chin like that.
Why
But
not?
he's now been banned from his all future athletic events in his league.
Let's open up a GoFundMe for this family and send him to a Trump rally so they can walk him out on stage about how bullshit this woke shit is.
Student is facing a 2-day suspension from school and barred from attending any future athletic events. The disciplinary notice that they put out said that, quote, J.A. painted his face black at a football game and characterized the incident as, quote, as an offensive comment to intent harm. So they're saying that he painted his face in blackface because their
What about
opponents.
that? What
Well,
about
hold
that
on.
giant thing in the middle of his face where you can still see that it's white? I mean, that's not what a black person looks like.
They're saying this was done intentionally because their opponent, Morse High School, is, quote, largely black, according to Cal Coast News. So this is one of the most fucking ridiculous things I've ever heard of in my entire fucking life. This had to be some fucking Karen, probably not even a fucking black person who gave a shit about this. Is probably some fucking random ass fucking white lady.
This is definitely not a black person that said this.
I can't believe what I'm looking at. And again, it's overdone. I'll say it again. It's done.
It is,
It's a
but
shitty paint job. It's a shitty face
How
paint
old?
job.
How old is he?
I think he's 8th grade, I believe.
Okay, 8th grade. So the parents finally let him do it himself because he's starting to become an independent human being a little bit. And the kid overdoes it a little bit, still showing 50% of his face looks white. I mean,
The father claims that even the black security guard. Hold on one sec. The father claims that even the black security guard encouraged his son to put on more face paint. Now, I will say, the paint's not black. I think that's the big problem here. Is the paint is brown. It's dark brown.
well, I mean,
Um,
they just use blackface. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I mean, what do you mean they just use blackface?
oh, no, okay, I get what you're saying. He used the wrong color paint.
Yeah, that's not black. It looks like brown paint to me. And the father released this picture, by the way. So I'm not just picking this out of nowhere, like I got some random little kid's face. I'm showing the dad released this because he wants to bring attention to this because he thinks it's ridiculous. And now I'm not gonna. Uh, I feel like this kid. He looks like he might not even be white. Like, does it me, or does he look like he might be Hispanic potentially or Latino? I don't know what the word is
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
So
I don't know.
potentially, I don't know. He does. I mean, his skin looks a little darker. I mean, granted, they live in California. His hair, so they're tanner. So it could just be a tan. I don't know. But I find the whole thing to be repugnant. This little kid's having. You have a small window to play football in your life
Yep.
when you're a kid. You really do. People don't think about this. Like if you play football and you want to play football, you have from 8 years old till 18 years old, basically. You got about a 10-year window to play, unless you are good, and you might get 4 more years out of it and get to go to some sort of small college, or if you're great, you go to a bigger college. And then if you're phenomenal and outstanding, a very, very minute percentage get to go on to
Yeah.
play for another 8 years. So the most you could really, say another 4 years per. I think that's the average for people that go to the NFL. So um, potentially the most you could really play is 18 years of your life. So it's a small window you're able to play.
Yep.
You could play pickup baseball your whole life. You could play pickup soccer, pickup basketball, anything other than football.
Oh, I'm
You
gonna be
could
able to bowl the next 50 years of my life.
right.
I'll be
You
95 years old, can barely walk, but I'll be chucking a fucking rock at some wooden pins. That's for sure.
I mean, you can't. You can't go out and like the people talk about. You do the turkey bowl, right? The Thanksgiving's coming up. You go play the
That
turkey
shit
bowl.
stops when you're
Yeah,
21 years old. Are you kidding me?
exactly. The older guys that go do that, they end up blowing out their knee. There's fist fights because they get the tryhards, the older guys who are trying to maintain their glory. Um, but yeah, this poor kid, he's having this small window closed. So if anything, he's going to potentially have to change schools or something in order to be able to play football. And this season's done. I mean, he's not going to be able to switch in this towards the end of the season at this point anyway. But I find the whole thing just to be disgusting. I feel
Yeah,
bad for this kid. I
I'm
hope
surprised
that
they're even. I'm surprised they're even allowed to play football in California at this point, and it's not
why
all flag football.
that's true, just because of the hitting and it being too
Yeah.
violent and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So well, I'll keep an eye out on this story to see if I hear any more about it. Um,
We're doomed.
uh,
We're
you think-
doomed.
I know
The
it's.
end times are near.
I really would love to know who reported this. I truly would
Oh,
love to know if this
You are so right, dude. It's a shoulder length hair woman, absolutely wearing a white fucking vest and a Patagonia fucking shoes.
um. Patagonia. You want to hear something funny about Patagonia? I used to say when I used to read that, I used to thought it was Patagonia for the longest time.
It sounds a lot more fancy though.
But I just didn't know. Then one day I heard somebody say Patagonia, and I went, "Oh yeah, I see. Okay, that's how you say that word. All right, that makes much more sense now." Patagonia.
How did you say it? Patagonia.
Patagonia.
I like that better though. I do like that better. It sounds like a new fresh brand to me.
Fancy. All right. Yeah. There you go. It does sound like a Louis Vuitton kind of thing. Patagonia.
You go grab my Patagonia.
There you
Can't
go.
even say it.
So we had that one story about wokeism in California being out of control, and we actually it's continued into another story that we actually talked about a while back. We played the video of this father who had a potential. Mikey, I don't remember if you were here this night. You might not have been.
Well,
here.
I mean, I might have physically been here, but let's be real.
that's what
Some
I'm
nights
saying.
I was physically here and mentally not.
I don't know
here,
if you were
but
physically.
let's just play it anyways, and I'll let you know if I remember.
Yeah, I don't know if you're. I'm not sure which one you are at this point, but if you were here or not, physically or mentally, I don't remember. But I feel like you may not have been. But anyway, there's the story that happened maybe a month or so, a couple weeks back. Actually, it was on November 4th. Excuse me. There was a father who was coming home in the evening. They have this kind of long alcove to go down to get to his door. And as he's going to the door, I'll show you the video of what happens. He's got his wife and his kid and a nanny at home. And he's just coming home. Looks like he's carrying a cup of coffee. In fact, I think I know you weren't here because I actually wanted to break this video down with you to see what he does here. So now I definitely know you weren't.